Coming up, more information emerges about the brutal stabbing of a teenage girl in Fargo. The extreme heat continues with potential storms popping this evening. Plus, a renter takes action after dealing with no air conditioning over the weekend. Valley News Live at 5 starts right now.
This is Valley News Live at 5.
New tonight at 5, a Cass County judge has set bail at $1 million, cash only, for the man accused of strangling and stabbing a teenage girl over 20 times last Friday morning outside of Fargo Strip Mall. 23-year-old Arthur Prince Coley is now charged with the attempted murder of 14-year-old Jupiter Paulson, felony robbery, and aggravated assault. Valley News Team's crime and safety reporter Bailey Hurley was in the courtroom this afternoon. She joins us live now in the studio with the disturbing details of this case. Bailey.
Andrea, the Cass County State's Attorney's Office called this a case of an innocent victim being in the wrong place at the wrong time. As court documents filed earlier today state, a garbage man who was driving through a parking lot off of 13th Avenue says he witnessed Arthur Coley leaning over 14-year-old Jupiter Paulson with one hand on her nose and the other on her throat. Now, documents say Fargo police investigators later found discarded black pants and shoes with what appeared to be blood on them inside a changing room Coley went into on the Walmart on 13th Avenue. And police say when Coley was later located and arrested, he told investigators that he used meth on the afternoon before the assault and had not slept since. Coley also stated while he did not recall the assault, documents say he did admit to walking in the area at the time, and police found fresh cuts on his hand. Now, we did speak with Jupiter's father, Robert, earlier today, who told us that Jupiter is, quote, too far gone, and says she likely won't make it. Andrea.
Okay, thank you, Bailey. Coley is set to be in court again on July 14th. And tonight on Valley News Live at 6, we dive into Coley's lengthy criminal history, which is the main reason Cass County court officials decided to set his bail so high. We've got another week of high temperatures ahead of us, but there's now an easy way to beat the heat in Fargo. The city's swimming pools are open for the season. You'll want to check the forecast before you head out, though, because some of us could see severe storms this week. Let's go to Hutch now for the latest. Hutch?
Oof, yeah, swimming pools, sprinklers, you name it, any way you can stay cool. We still have hot weather across the area, and storms are firing as we speak. There is a risk of severe weather. The risk is called a slight risk by our friends at the Storm Prediction Center. That's a level 2 on a 5-level scale of severe weather. The threat is there. It's not going to be widespread. We'll have isolated severe storms, and the main threats tonight are going to be gusty straight line winds and some large hail with these storms as they develop, which are now forming near the Highway 2 corridor, moving to the north and east. A couple of cells here with some lightning and thunder. No hail yet of significance from these. We'll have more on the forecast right now, though. We're expecting development down here near the South Dakota border. Look at the heat down there, and there is a lot more moisture in the air, the humidity much higher near this warm front. So we are positioning our resources, including storm chaser Eric Whitehill, in a position to make sure that we can keep our eyes on the skies. Very humid air pushing into northern South Dakota. These will feel not only thunderstorms, but some beneficial rain, which we all could certainly use. In Fargo tonight, hot through the early evening. Best chance of thunderstorms comes late and into the overnight here in the Southern Valley and points to the east. I'll have hour-by-hour details on when they start, and we'll track the storms for you and have the rest of your week forecast here in just a few minutes.
Okay, thanks, Hutch. On Friday, we told you that it was so hot outside that roads started to heave. In all, 4 major streets in Fargo cracked under the extreme temperatures last weekend. City officials say crews are out working to fix the road failures today, and they hope to have Bishops Boulevard South open by the end of the workday tomorrow. The record-breaking temperatures last week caused a lot of us to crank up the air conditioning, but the AC never turned on for some Fargo and West Fargo residents. Valley News Team's J.C. Dodd tells us how 2 locals had to suffer through the heat without help from their property managers.
Parts of the Red River Valley saw triple-digit temperatures for the first time in several years. Fargo resident Kimberly Mishnick says she first noticed a problem with her air conditioning unit in May when the temperatures began to rise. When she filed a maintenance request, a maintenance worker for Red Point Management told her the unit wasn't broken.
Basically said it's all in your head, your apartment's too big, and that there's no way you're going to ever cool it properly.
When Fargo started reaching extreme heat over the weekend, she filed another maintenance request hoping to get the AC unit fixed before the triple digits hit. She says a maintenance worker told her the unit would be fixed that day, but later said she would have to wait until Monday at 8 a.m.
suffering through that Saturday. It was so hot.
Once she noticed how much the heat was affecting her two cats, she and her fiance decided to stay in a hotel Sunday night.
I couldn't eat, I couldn't sleep on Saturday. We just need to get some rest because I had to work today.
Mishnick wasn't the only one having to endure the high temperatures with no air conditioning. Sarah Roth, a renter in West Fargo, had the same issue.
It was like a swamp in my apartment. It was so hot, so humid.
Roth took matters into her own hands. She went to Walmart and purchased the last wall AC unit they had for $250.
I am a good tenant. I pay my rent on time. I expect the same respect back from my property manager.
And Mishnick says she is tired of not being taken seriously.
I'm fed up. I've tried calling. I don't know what else to do. I'm sick of this issue with all these apartment complexes in Fargo.
In Fargo, JC Dodd, Valley News Live.
While we didn't hear back from one of the property management companies, the other says they are offering to put the tenants without AC into a hotel. After we spoke with Roth and Mishnick, they both received notifications from their property management companies that their air conditioning units will be replaced or fixed. If you need help with an issue in your community, call our whistleblower hotline 237-6576 and leave your tip. A member of our investigative team will get on the case. We're learning more about a fatal shooting in Wahpeton last week. Officers responded to a home on the city's north side around 2:30 Friday after a woman reported a man threatening her with a gun. They were trying to make contact with the victim when they heard a gunshot from inside the home. Wahpeton police have identified the deceased as 52-year-old Karen Ertelt Warner and 62-year-old Gregory Zander. Preliminary autopsy results show Ertelt Warner died of several gunshot wounds, while Zander had just one. The incident is still under investigation. A Michigan man will spend over a decade in jail for bringing drugs into North Dakota. This morning, a U.S. District Court judge sentenced 32-year-old Mario Garmu to 15 years in federal prison. He will also spend 3 years under supervised probation and will pay a $200 fine. Garmu was caught with nearly 100 oxycodone pills and nearly a pound of marijuana in his car back in 2019. Investigators found that he had distributed hundreds of those pills, mostly in and around the Fort Berthold Indian Reservation. Garmu is a career offender under the United States sentencing guidelines based on 2 prior drug trafficking convictions. Fargo police have identified the man found dead in the Red River on Saturday. Crews responded to Riverside Cemetery just before 2:30 that afternoon to perform a water rescue. Police say the body of 33-year-old Dane Sayers was pulled from the river. They are awaiting the results of his autopsy, and the investigation is still ongoing. A contractor from Fergus Falls will pay $1.75 million in damages for using unauthorized materials in federally funded road projects. The U.S. District Attorney's Office in Minnesota says Mark Sand and Gravel is accused of violating federal and state false claims acts. The DA alleges the company worked on 3 projects near Detroit Lakes between 2013 and 2015 and failed to follow their contract. They say the company used unauthorized materials like waste and shale rock in place of gravel and lied to the federal government about it. They have agreed to pay $1.75 million to settle the allegations. The Fargo School Board will discuss possible disciplinary actions against a board member who didn't adhere to the district's masking policies. A memo filed for tomorrow's meeting says face masks were required as part of the Smart Restart plan, and Jennifer Benson didn't comply with the rule on several occasions. School Board President Rebecca Knutson says she gave Benson opportunities to join the meetings by phone or file for a mask exemption, but Benson refused those alternatives. Stick with Valley News Live for the latest on tomorrow's meeting. North Dakota's only Down Syndrome Achievement Center is serving families again after their building was destroyed in a fire last month. Gigi's Playhouse received the keys to their new temporary location this afternoon. That new location will allow them to provide limited programming for the rest of the summer. Gigi says the number of families who need their help grows each day. They are currently providing free services to about 190 people. Their Rebuild the Playhouse Fund is going strong and still taking donations. If you would like to help, you can go to Gigi's Fargo website. And you can walk in and get your COVID vaccine in Moorhead, no appointment necessary. Clay County Public Health is holding a walk-in vaccine clinic on Thursday. It's at the Family Service Center located at 715 North 11th Street. It runs from 9 a.m. to 1 p.m. The health department says both the Pfizer and the single-shot Johnson & Johnson vaccines will be available. If you're looking for more places to get the vaccine, use our VNL vaccine tracker. It's on the homepage of our website, or you can open your phone camera and point it at the QR code on your screen, then tap the link that pops up. Hundreds of so-called water protectors gathered in northern Minnesota today to protest construction of Enbridge's Line 3 pipeline. Construction on the pipeline resumed last week. Hundreds traveling from around the country are calling for Minnesota officials and President Biden to shut down Line 3 pipeline to protect treaties, water, and climate. The multi-billion-dollar pipeline would run right between three reservations near Bemidji. Line 3 carries Canadian crude from Alberta. It clips a corner of North Dakota on its way across northern Minnesota to Enbridge's terminal in Superior, Wisconsin. Minnesota's Capitol building is reopening this week. Last week, crews took down the fencing that had been in place since the unrest following George Floyd's murder last summer. The Minnesota Department of Administration says the Capitol will be open weekdays from 8 to 5 and weekend hours will resume at a later date. Guided tours will not resume until later this summer. The building has been closed since March 2020 due to the pandemic. You can buy a ticket to ride to space alongside the richest man on Earth if you've got the cash. Bidding is underway to ride shotgun when Amazon's founder, Jeff Bezos, flies to space from Texas next month. It'll be a quick trip on board the first human flight for Blue Origin's New Shepard spacecraft. The flight is scheduled for July 20th, the anniversary of the Apollo 11 moon landing. Thousands of people worldwide are bidding for the single seat in an online auction, pushing the current price to nearly $3 million. The smaller the wedding, the smaller the price tag, right? Not during COVID, and maybe not after the pandemic either. That's next.
Weather-wise, it's another hot one out there, and it's cooler up to the north. There's a boundary here. We have dry air up north and much more humid air down to the south. That'll fuel some thunderstorms. A few near Northwood now, drifting north and east. These could be strong, but even stronger ones are expected later. We'll track those coming up next.